morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela and we are the Castros.
It's a wonderful Tuesday morning. Yesterday, ang Christmas party namin sa
Signal TV, 1PH,
Signal Family, and
One News.
Oo, wala naman nagpuyat kasi lahat kami maaga gigising. Pero masarap ang food. And for brunch pala this morning, we have cinnamon rolls.
Yes.
And of course, ako yung coffee. Hot choco ni Angel paakyat na.
Yes. Uy, magbibigay tayo ng update kasi yesterday, di ba, nagkaroon ng eruption ang Mount Canlaon sa May Negros. Alas 3 yun ng hapon yesterday. And of course, we'll give you update also doon sa 3 laws that were signed yesterday by President Bongbong Marcos and a lot more. Of course, yung impeachment complaint.
Mga
Baka daw may pangatlo pa di ba?
Mga laws na pahabol sa LEDAC yan.
Yes.
Yan, okay. We're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee. This is Brunch.
Starting our countdown with Canlaon Volcano. The volcano in the Negros Island erupted yesterday noon. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology said the eruption started at around 3 p.m. and it lasted for 7 minutes. It emitted a 4-kilometer plume or combined gas, ash, and water vapor. PHIVOLCS raised Canlaon Volcano to alert level 3, which signifies magmatic unrest. Several towns nearby the volcano already conducted evacuation and class suspensions today. So yan, alert level 3. Tapos sabi ni Director Bacolcol, they're going to further look at Canlaon carefully kung kailangan daw if it's a necessity to raise it to level 4.
Yes.
So far, hindi pa naman.
Okay, so one of the factors that they will raise it sa level 4, yung doon sa Negros Occidental, is kung mas kumalat pa yung mga ashfall. Right now, under alert level 3, it's within 6-kilometer danger zone.
Yes,
dapat
right.
maka-evacuate yung ating mga kababayan, yung mga affected families. And if I'm not mistaken, 87,000 families have already evacuated since yesterday dahil nga dito sa pagsabog ng Mount Canlaon dyan sa Negros Occidental. But they're still monitoring. But I think if yesterday, since nag-erupt ito, wala naman na siya masyado ulit na mga activity.
Yeah.
Pero yun nga, kumakalat pa rin yung ashfall pa rin, makapal pa rin yung usok, and residents there are advised to wear N95 mask kung lalabas sila. Or kung wala, yung basang bimpo. Diba, takpan yung kanilang mga ilong kasi pagdating nga dito sa mga kapal na usok na to, may mga respiratory illnesses tayong kalaban dyan, diba? So if it's not really important naman yung paglabas, stay at home na lang. Tapos ano pa ba yung mga reminders dyan sa Negros Occidental? Kasi itong Mount Canlaon, nakapagtaya sila ng mga volcanic activities ito o yung mga pagsabog nito 40 times already since 1861.
Yes,
so talagang very active itong volcano na to. And earlier this year lang naman, June, nagkaroon din siya ng mga pagsabog. So talagang nakaantabay lang dyan ng PHIVOLCS. And later on, hopefully we can talk to someone from PHIVOLCS, hopefully si Director Bacolcol, para bigyan tayo ng update. Kasi there's also a possibility of lahar. Kasi di ba may mga, may mga pag-ulan tayo ngayon due to shear line, amihan, ITCZ. Kaya, yun, may possibility na magkaroon din ng lahar. Kaya, nakaantabay lang
But it takes a large volume of water for lahar daw to happen. We're also taking a look at Mayon Volcano and Taal Volcano, yung mga active volcano that's been on the news recently.
Yes, Bulkang Taal naman nagkaroon ng lindol doon sa area nila, but still alert level 1 pa rin sa doon sa area nila sa may Bulkang Taal. Pero yun pa rin, advice pa rin sa mga kababayan natin, makinig na lang dun sa mga advisories, diba, announcement ng local government para updated tayo dun sa mga nangyayari doon. And if not, sabi nila, pagka kumalat pa nga daw ito at kukulangin yung mga evacuation centers na paglalagyan ng ating mga affected families, baka daw yung Panaad Stadium doon sa may Bacolod, which can house 30,000 evacuees, ay ilagay doon yung ating mga kababayan. Pero sana wag naman magtagal kasi magpapasko na diba? Ang hirap naman nun. Pero importante, of course, safe yung ating mga kababayan.
Hindi ako nakasingit
Hindi, may sasabihin ka ba?
Nasabi mo lahat Hindi ka man nagbigay kahit konting kuha.
Okay, kuha-quiet na ako.
Hindi, wag na. Go lang. Okay, next na.
Hopefully, we can talk to Director Teresito
Director
Bacolcol later para mabigyan tayo ng iba pang update. For the meantime, let's continue with our countdown. On our top 9 is Syria. Israel has occupied a buffer zone that was considered to be part of the Western Asian country. Israeli forces seized the Golan Heights after Syrian rebels ended the ruling of President Bashar al-Assad. The Golan Heights was formed as a buffer zone under the 1974 ceasefire agreement between Israel and Syria. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the decades-old agreement has collapsed after Syrian troops abandoned their positions. Naku supposedly, ano yan di ba? Ang tawag doon, pag ceasefire nga, di ba? Pag
Yeah.
nandoon ka sa Golan Heights,
Safe zone.
Safe zone mo yun, that's the term.
Problema kasi kay si President Bashar,
Al-Assad.
madami siyang nuclear tuloy, madami siyang human rights cases
Violation.
na hindi usad sa bansa na yan because he has a strong grip over all facets of government from yung cabinet niya. But kahit nag-overthrow kay Bashar, yung cabinet daw still remains in place. But kasi most of them na hold over, nag-pledge ng support sa incoming new transition government while they're forming a possible new structure of government, or will they retain the old structure pero magkakaroon ng pagpili ang mga tao sa leaders nila. Ang problema kasi sa Syrian area, sa mga area na yan, may mga tribe yan. In other words, may mga iba-ibang faction like dito sa atin, may MILF, may MNLF, di ba? Doon may ganun din, which they have different beliefs, different kinds of practices. So, kaya nagkaka-unrest lagi doon.
Oo. Tapos yung mga different tribes na sinasabi mo, groups is supported by different mga groups na yung iba connected sa Israel, yung iba connected sa
one is
Iran.
the one that
Russia.
one out ngayon is a group that supports and is supported also by Israel.
Oo, di ba? Ito yun, di ba?
Yes, but kaya this move favors Israel right now because it will bring stability daw and peace. So no longer magkakaroon ng initan or tension between Israel and Syria.
Sabi nga nila, sino ba ang alay ng Israel, US? So sabi nila may chismis na meron din silang hand in here, but no, we don't know that, of course. Oh well, I was wondering nga kasi I'm not really familiar kung talaga bang inaasahan or naasahan na ito yung pagbagsak ng Al-Assad, ni President Al-Assad. Kasi di ba yung family nila reigned for 50 years.
Yeah, ako inaasahan mo. It was just even...
It's a matter of time.
Even watching this news growing up ako, sabi nang I remember my dad telling me, it's just a matter of time before this guy topples over. You have to remember si Gaddafi had a long reign over his area also, di ba? And si Saddam Hussein had a lengthy reign over Iraq as well.
So what's on top must come down, something like
Hindi
that.
naman. It's just that masyadong sakal na yung mga tao. So, meron, ang tinatawag nila sa Syria, it's a tinderbox eh. A tinderbox kasi is ready to explode anytime. And nagkaroon biglang ng lakas ng loob from outside forces to help Syrian rebels inside by arming them with equipment that's good enough to topple over si Bashar.
Pero kasi ang problema dito pa rin, no, at the end of it all, yung mga civilian sila yung affected dito.
Actually,
may mga
but
na-apekto.
But it's the civilians themselves that had the coup against Bashar.
Pero
Sila
yun
din.
nga, di ba yung paalala natin sa mga kababayan din natin na nandoon to contact the Philippine Embassy there kung kailangan nila magpa-repatriate.
Pero hindi na daw kailangan. They're all safe na daw kasi tapos na eh. Tapos na yung issue doon.
Alright, let's continue with our countdown.
On our 8th spot, Cambodia has introduced a website that can improve our efforts in digitalization. Let's check its features in this report from mobile journalist Amy Atienza.
Leading Asia to greater digital progression, Cambodia introduces website verify.gov to Filipinos in the Government Digitalization Cooperation Workshop held in Puerto Princesa, Palawan. In line with its goal to provide exchange of ideas, Cambodia's Secretary-General on Digital Government Committee, Chia Sarivat, shared the verification system used by their country, which can possibly be applied in the e-government applications of the Philippines. During the press conference, Sarivat shared that one of the leading problems of Cambodia on the excessive use of paper led them to establish the website.
But the first thing that you need to do is that kill all the paper. I don't want this country to have any more paper. Kill all the notarization. I don't want to see any notarization in Cambodia. So, we pick a problem to resolve.
Many countries have already showed interest, with the likes of Laos and Timor-Leste. This time, the Secretary-General is hopeful that the Philippines can also apply the Verify site as an official platform for document verification. This corresponds to the problem that certain areas in the Philippines, such as Recto in Manila, can issue illegal public documents among Filipinos.
We are happy to go to your country and deploy the solution. With our partnership from UNDP, World Bank, IPU, and Code Local Fund. I had a discussion with UNDP. They said that, say what, if one day any country would like to have a solution, tell us.
With its commitment to help other countries, the digital site has been recognized in the ASEAN Digital Awards as the gold medalist of the top-performing programs across Southeast Asia. Philippines Department of Information and Communications Technology Under Secretary David Almirol Jr. also acknowledged the ideas from Cambodia and looked into a brighter future with the program exchange.
I think if this kind of give and take relationship, all of us were able to implement good change, not only for ourselves, but hopefully for our children and for the next generations to come.
The ICT and the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications from Cambodia will also sign a Memorandum of Understanding for its partnership on Wednesday, December 11. Mobile journalist Amy Atienza, We Are One News.
Alright. Sige, marami nga. Parang ano dun no, sa Recto yung mga illegal documents sa binibenta.
Sa?
Common knowledge.
Yeah, oo.
Manila.
Teenager pa lang ako, license, death certificate,
Bakit hanggang ngayon hindi
tax
pa rin yun
document.
na nasisiwat?
Most of them kasi are not, well, they're illegal, no? But if you check kasi yung documents, yung authenticity, it'll check out. For example, may mga times na may mga
Nasa database
school
talaga,
records,
no?
school records sa mga university.
Saying,
Pagtatawag ka sa university, the documents,
Nandun.
nandun yung record because may nagkakaroon ng lagayan daw sa inside.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, alam naman nila doon sa lugar na yun, but hindi nila nare-raid or something.
Nare-raid yan.
Pero
Just
bumabalik
lang sila. Nare-raid yan.
Alright. Pilipinas Live is giving the gift of free live games this December. Enjoy the UAAP Finals, PBL, PBA, NBA, and more. All you have to do is download the app and register for free.
Naka-download na ako niyan.
Oo, di ba? Napakailabangan natin yan nung FIBA.
Oo.
Alright. Ito, how did Senate President Chis Escudero respond to rumors of a Senate shakeup targeting to unseat him?
And a third, you heard it, a third impeachment complaint is in the offing against Vice President Sara Duterte. But which group will file it? A third. Wait, there's more.
Oh, yan yung para abangan nila later. We're just getting started, mga kapatid. More of our top 10 news when Brunch returns. Keep it here on One News.
Ikaw muna bumati, ah.
Good morning. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Siyempre, babatiin natin yung mga
Sensya na,
usual suspects natin.
Usually kasi babati din ako from yung Facebook kaso naka-charge ako eh.
Ayan, hindi ka nag-charge kanina.
Oo. So ikaw muna magbati sa brunchies natin.
Si Mig Sebron, si Sam Pokemon Go, sabi niya prayers nga daw dun sa mga nasa taga Negros Island and nearby area. Si Ana Valente, Ralph Domingo, birthday ni Ralph. Happy birthday to
Si Ralph.
sabi niya.
Happy birthday, Ralph.
Ralph. Ayan, si Ralph isa sa mga suki natin na nanonood sa atin. Of course, si Gary Field. Would also like to say good morning and greet dun yung mga brunchies natin from YouTube.
Oy, hello
Si Mark
sa mga...
Santiago, Ronald Maxte, Elmo Cardenas,
Si VJ.
Summer Cabrera, Geraldine Balolong, watching from Bukidnon, si VJ, si I, si Tita Daisy, Tito Nito, Tito Naldi, Tita Ivy and Tita Benji also watching. Si Mina Benales and our Jessie Mendez family, Jerry Young, yan, mga nanonood din yan sa atin. Tita Esther Abaya, good morning.
Good morning.
Alright, let's continue with our countdown. Going straight now to our top 7, President Bongbong Marcos signed 3 significant laws on Monday. These include the Mental Health and Well-being Promotion Act. This law aims to strengthen mental health programs in schools given the alarming rise in cases of students with suicidal tendencies.
This law aims to bridge that gap by embedding mental health services directly into our schools, our nation's first line of defense against mental health issues.
Marcos also signed the amendment of the Agricultural Tarification Act. This extends the Rice Comprehensive Enhancement Fund, or RCEF, until 2031. Also became a law is the VAT refund bill. This allows non-resident tourists to claim a VAT refund for purchases of at least 3,000 pesos worth of local goods from accredited retail outlets.
We anticipate an increase in tourist spending, considering that this will elevate the value proposition of Philippine tourism, as we can now add a very attractive shopping component to tourism in the country.
Okay.
Actually, sa Italy may ganyan yan eh.
Talaga?
Lahat ng shinap mo, you just have to bring the receipt sa airport. And then before you
Pwede
leave,
mo i-refund.
before you leave the country, yung VAT sa pinabili mo, shopping mo, may limit though, you can get a refund for that. Because since you're hindi ka man resident ng area, so exempt ka sa VAT.
Oh, so yun nga daw yung aim nila dito is to stimulate spending.
Yun nga, oo.
Diba? Oo. So, kasi alam mo naman, pag shopping, kasama kakakibat din ang pagta-travel mo eh.
Kasi
diba?
ang mindset ng tourist, pag alam mo may babalik na certain percent, that means you have more spending power kasi may babalik sa'yo. So instead sa taxes na pupunta sa more business for other retail outlets.
Yeah, so this is also a good way daw to promote Philippines as a premier global shopping destination. Diba? So yan yung for tourists na yung law na isa sa mga sinay ni President Bongbong Marcos yesterday. And then another one would be yung mental health, about mental health and well-being, yung promotions act, no? Kasi ngayon, marami din naman sa mga schools ngayon na may ganoon ngayon na mandate, 'di ba, na i-prioritize, ilalanin, in-nurture at i-normalize na may mga mental health problems tayo, especially yung mga estudyante ngayon.
Right.
So they need assistance on that. But also, we would like to know also paano yung gagawin dyan dahil may mga ibang schools tayo ngayon reported na walang guidance counselors.
Wala.
Diba? Hirap sila. So, kasama yun dun sa bill na they should have a guidance counselor, tapos ito yung mga requirements, kung magkano yung susunod
Humigpit yung requirements eh.
Oo, diba? So, yun. Kasama kasi ngayon na we've seen a lot of reports and surveys na talagang tumataas yung suicidal tendencies ng mga kabataan ngayon.
Yeah.
Yung hirap din sila makakope dun sa mga challenges sa school. Diba kasi sa yung tuloy-tuloy yung may program, tapos academics, magre-review pa sila for exam, quizzes, etc. So, this is also important, yun nga, para ma-normalize din dun sa mga schools natin na mental health issue is an important aspect, diba, para sa mga estudyante. And the third bill na sinign yesterday, ba't ka tumatawa? Is yung extension nga nung
I'm speechless.
RCEP.
I'm speechless.
Bakit?
Sobrang asukal today.
Ito, salamat kay JR sa pagbigay
Hindi na
sa
ako nakakapagsalita direct eh.
Salita ka na, go.
Hindi na kasi
yung sa RCEP, ikaw yung sa RCEP.
nasasabi mo na lahat eh. Go.
Hindi, ano yung sa RCEP?
Sige na.
Hindi, extension lang yan kasi before, di ba, inumpisahan yung 2019, and 6 years yung validity ng law. So ngayon nagkaroon ng extension para nga mas matulungan yung mga magsasaka natin, di ba, yung machinery, seedling, lahat, assistance
Yung
sa
modernization
kanila.
program.
Oo. Kaya lang kasi
Oo.
minsan nagkakaroon ng problema din sa RCEP nila. Di ba, yung 10 billion yung excess fund ibibigay sa mga farmers. Tapos yung excess pa dun sa 10 billion, ibibigay yung cash na yun directly sa mga farmers. Ang nagkaroon daw ng problem, especially 2022 and 2023, ay hindi mabilis na ibibigay sa mga farmers yung cash.
Delayed ang releasing
Yes.
daw. Pero sinasabi kasi nila, it's a matter of vetting the list carefully daw kasi ayaw nila mapunta daw yung pera sa maling
Bilisan
maling
nila yung
tao.
vetting.
Oh, no,
Kawawa naman yung mga farmers
we
natin.
understand that, but you also have to be very, very careful. Pero time is of the essence nga.
Oo, especially yan kapag nasalanta sila ng bagyo yung mga farmers natin. Makakaantay pa ba?
Iniiwas kasi siguro may kaba din yung pag-release ng fund because baka mapunta sa mga alam mo na. Ayan, alam mo na yan.
So ayan po yung 3 laws that were signed yesterday by President Bongbong Marcos.
Okay.
Alright, let's continue with our countdown.
Bilang Pilipino, bilang Pilipino.
moving over to our top 6, a bill seeking to criminalize troll farms has been filed before the House of Representatives. Representatives Margarita Nograles Almario and Chino Miguel Almario filed the Anti-Troll Farm and Election Disinformation Act. They said the bill aims to protect the sanctity of Philippine elections and promote truth and transparency in the democratic process. It aims to penalize troll farming with imprisonment of 6 to 12 years and a fine of up to 10 million pesos. Well,
Yan.
CPRRD was accused of, not him, but yung mga handlers niya was accused of troll farming nung last elections.
Yes, and even nung time ng election din nung 2022, 'di ba? Ang what went before yung time na yon, yung sila ang daming mga propaganda o disinformation against Vice President Leni Robredo at that time. Tapos iba-iba din yung mga lumalabas about martial law, 'di ba? So,
Basta for context lang kasi, ang troll farming is a group opens, sabihin mo na 10 sila, they will open 100,000 accounts or
Yes.
more. And then meron machine that will actively make these accounts active, non-stop commenting. May mga keywords sila pumapasok
And creating,
If there's a keyword,
content ng
kunyari,
disinformation
candidate
talaga.
A. Pag may candidate A sila, tapos na lumalabas sa algorithm nila na may somebody's talking about candidate A, titignan nila yung account na yon, tapos kung masama, magtutroll sila doon. Kukontra sila.
Oh,
Ganun.
so kasama yan dun sa bill na yon, sirain nila pagka nahuli yung mga troll farm equipment, etc.
Yeah.
Ito lang yung nakikita ko dito na pwede nila sigurong explain pa sa atin. I was reading about it kasi nakalagay doon. Meanwhile, political candidates who are aware that they are benefiting from troll farms and electoral disinformation will be disqualified from the race in addition to facing the prescribed penalties. So, how can they prove that kunyari, a candidate knows or aware na merong disinformation na nagbe-benefit sa kanya? Kasi a candidate could always deny it.
Any disinformation kasi that comes out benefits the candidate.
Kaya nga, so 'di ba? O kung hindi naman niya
Alam ko kasi,
kasalanan.
but there are algorithm links to, for example, may mga known handlers sa mga candidates. Alam nila, these are official handlers. Kaya nga, di ba, sabi ni Chairman George, bago mag-campaign pa lang din next year, papadeclare nila kung kaaabot daw, kung sino yung mga legit mga social media accounts mo. Di ba? Kung may mga link sa mga social media accounts na yon sa'yo, di ikaw ang liable dyan. Ang problema, of course, magkakaroon ka ng other accounts.
Yes.
Na,
Oo.
we're not accusing the candidates.
Yeah, yun nga sinasabi ko. Kasi there will always be parang loophole, sasabihin nila, di ba, pwede ko naman i-deny yun. Hindi ko naman alam na, na connected yan sa akin or kung nagbe-benefit yan sa akin.
Yeah.
Malay ko ba dyan kung sinong gumawa niyan, di ba? They can always say that. Alright, let's continue with our countdown. The Justice Department ensured that Mary Jane Veloso will be in a different detention from one of her recruiters. DOJ affirmed this after they formally signed a practical agreement with Indonesia. Veloso's return to the Philippines has yet to be announced. DOJ spokesperson Miko Clavano said Veloso might be detained in the Women's Correctional Facility once she arrives in the country. One of Veloso's recruiters is also detained there, but Clavano ensured that Veloso will not share the same cell with them.
We are also very aware na meron siyang yung mga kinasuhan niya for qualified human trafficking and for illegal recruitment are in facilities that she may be in also. So we will make sure na hindi niya kasama po yung mga respondent sa kaso kung saan testigo ho siya.
But not only that, you have to remember, hindi naman yung actual direct physical contact ang dapat katakutan kasi ni Mary Jane. Ang sinasabi nila, if these are powerful people, even if you put them in another cell block, may pera,
They can find a way.
may mga pera tong mga recruiter na to. May mga hawak sila mga tao from the other cell. Kasi may mga gang yan eh. So they could...
Just make sure na yung safety
we're
ni
not
Mary
saying na
Jane.
gagawin yun, but we're saying they should take a close look at Mary Jane until such time na we can fully release her out in the open.
So one, of course, yun nga sinasabi nila, yung illegal recruiters na nakakulong din, sige, that's one factor, hindi siya isasama doon. Pangalawa, yung sinasabi mo, that they have to make sure na safe siya from others as well. Hindi naman natin sinasabi na bigyan siya ng special treatment, just to make sure lang na maging safe. Kasi baka mamaya nakaligtas nga siya ng death row
No, actually, you need-
sa,
we're not saying
diba?
bigyan
sa
mo ng-
ibang bansa, tapos pagdating dito siya
We're not saying bigyan mo ng comfort, but special treatment in such a way na special pagbabantay.
make sure yung
Oo.
safety niya. Number one, she has to, yung may magbigay mga statements by
Oh, you have to remember, aside from yung recruiters na yan, yung mga sindikato sa drugs, may pa yan, they're keeping a close eye on this case.
Kaya di ba natatakot nung umpisa yung parents niya?
Napauwiin.
Dito kasi nga may mga banta sa buhay, tapos at that time daw may mga umaaligid pa sa bahay nila at that time. But yun nga, good news pa rin kay Mary Jane Veloso that she's coming home, hopefully nga daw before Christmas.
Alright, let's move on. Ranking fourth is the recent harassment incidents in the West Philippine Sea. Denmark's foreign minister visited the Philippine Coast Guard headquarters in Manila to get more information about the recent incidents with the Chinese Coast Guard. Danish Foreign Affairs Minister Lars Rasmussen was briefed about the current maritime tensions in the South China Sea. He was also informed about the recent water cannon attacks and dangerous maneuvers done by the CCG against our vessels. This is an important meeting because Denmark is preparing to join the powerful United Nations Security Council. Rasmussen said the UNSC is aiming to force all countries, including China, to uphold regulations in the conventions.
Yun. Pero kasi naman, di ba, lagi naman natin sinasabi dito, ang narrative ng China, they always want bilateral meeting, di ba?
Itong grupo na to where the Danish Foreign Minister said na sasali yung country nila, it's a powerful bloc of economic and military powerhouses na if they can put slight pressure on China, baka naman that evens the negotiating table.
Hopefully.
With them.
Pero kasi for me, talagang very stern ng China na
They're
gusto
stern.
nila bilateral lang. Only countries that are involved.
Pero those who are privy to how back channeling happens kasi China and any other nation will always maintain a face na you are consistent. But sometimes may mga concession sa likod. O sige, we'll allow you China to maintain a powerful face in front of your citizens.
Pero this is what we're going to do
This is what we're going to do. Because if not, magkakaroon ka ng economic embargo, wala nang papasok
Mga
na
sanctions,
gano'n,
ganyan.
sanction. Mapapanood mo naman sa Netflix. Alam mo na.
But yun nga, hopefully talaga maayos natin yung yung issue dyan. But
Bago
for
pa
the meantime,
may yung kinakatakutan natin na baka mangyari na sana hindi mangyari.
oo, di ba? Kawawa din talaga yung
Kawawa
mga
yung
fishermen
mga
natin, yung PCG natin,
Navy
yung mga
personnel.
taga-BFAR.
Mga taga-Navy.
Alright, let's continue with our countdown. Now, on our top 3, Senate President Francis Escudero laughs off rumors of his possible ouster and a takeover by Senator Cynthia Villar. Here's a report.
Cheese miss. That's how Senator J.V. Ejercito described recent reports of a Senate shake-up. This comes after rumors of a coup d'etat circulated on some newspapers, with Senator Cynthia Villar allegedly poised to replace Cheese Escudero. But for Ejercito, they have a lot of more important things to do.
Chismis lang yun. Kasi so far okay naman ang performance. I think satisfied naman karamihan ng senators. Marami namang tapos, okay natapusin. So I don't think there's a truth to that.
Senators Bato de la Rosa and Jinggoy Estrada said no one has approached them to seek support for a new leadership.
Depende yan sa majority kung ano gusto nila. Pero sa ngayon, wala ko nakikita. Honestly, hindi ko binubula kayo. Wala.
Sino naman ang kilala kasi na nakita mo? I've been supportive of the leadership of Senator Escudero.
Meanwhile, Villar herself denied that she was poised to replace Escudero.
A strong message to international community of the Philippines.
De La Rosa, however, said he would support Villar if she wanted to become the Senate leader.
Si Ma'am Cynthia Villar, kasama ako. Kasi close kami, di ba? Very close kami, pero wala mo akong...
But for Estrada, Escudero should still be the Senate President, especially now that impeachment complaints have been filed against Vice President Sara Duterte.
Let's be discussion. Kung sakasakali mo makip-impeachment dito sa atin, at least abogado yung pwede sa inyo.
Escudero, for his part, simply laughed off rumors of his possible ouster. He said he doesn't need to comment on rumors and it will remain one until it happens. For News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
Ang lilikot ng mga ng
Hindi, historically
Senado.
naman, alam mo naman
Ayaw ko
yan
na
eh.
sabihin.
Rumors are always rumors, that is true. Pero sometimes yung rumor kasi may pinanggagalingan
Kapag may uso.
na informal discussion sa coffee. Kumbaga ang tawag nila table coffee discussions. So, on the coffee table.
At may tenga ang
Ano,
mga
pare?
pader.
Ano pare, palitan natin si cheese. Talaga? Ganun lang. Ganun lang yan.
Hindi na sila,
Chismis
hindi
lang
na sila
yan.
natigil. Ano? Palit ng palit.
Eh, historically naman, ganun na yun ever since.
Oo nga, pero di ba? Tapos
Even sa Congress, lower house, there have always been like that. It's just mas difficult sa lower house because you're dealing with over
A lot of,
Oo, may mga
lawmakers.
Oo, 300 congressmen yan. And
Pero
you need-
sana naman, yung reason mo if you want to change leadership is because yun yung nararapat, hindi dahil close friend mo. Yun lang
13,
naman.
hindi, I mean, 13 sila, and the mere fact naman supposedly that the reason why they're senators is because each of them have their specific specific agendas.
Yes,
oo.
definitely.
No, I'm talking about I'm not talking about personal agenda.
Meron akong alam. Char, meron alam.
I'm talking about political agendas.
Yes, yun nga.
Na for example, may bill ka na ihahabol, tapatapos na term mo, di ba? So ilalagay mo ang feeling mo, mapapadali at mamahahabol yung bill mo. That's why that other senators are like that. If they see that your bill, kunyari ako, yung bill ko hindi papasa kay SP Cheese, gawa tayo ng paraan na legacy bill ko to eh.
Alright, sige, chismis lang daw yan. Pero ito hindi chismis, Diego.
Don't go away. Akala ko meron ka pa sasabihin.
Oo.
We're not done yet. May dalawa pa tayo.
We have... Alagang Kapatid Foundation is making the Christmas vibes merrier for our kababayan.
Let's discuss their initiatives with AKF Executive Director Menchi Silvestre live via Zoom. Ma'am Menchi, thank you very much for joining us again here on Branch.
Good morning.
Maraming salamat. Thank you very much and good morning, DNA.
DNA. Oy, that's nice, Ma'am Menchi.
Pwede.
Diego and Angie, I like that. Oo, hashtag DNA po, ha? Ma'am Menchi.
DNA!
Ma'am Menchi, let's start off muna with kamusta na po yung updates natin sa relief operations, yung victims sa mga sunod po na bagyo that we experienced this last few months.
Yes, Diego. Late last week, we wrapped up our second round of help for Northern Luzon. So narating natin dito, Nueva Vizcaya, Aurora, Isabela, and Cagayan. So nakaabot tayo ng apat na lalawigan muli last week, and that was already our second round of help. Of course, inumpisahan natin yan sa ating leg in the Bicol region, Camarines Sur, Albay, yan ang mga lugar na inikot natin for the first round. And we're very grateful na dahil tulong-tulong ang MDT Group, kaya nga ginawa nating merry ang vibes ng Pasko. And of course, other big donors like Metrobank Foundation and GT Foundation, we're very grateful kasi pati yung mga nagdeposito, yung mga nag-scan ng QR code natin, nagpapasalamat po kami dahil kami ay nakakapaghatid ng tulong. Tayo ay nakakapaghatid ng saya at pag-asa dahil na rin sa pakikipagtulungan ng iba.
Ma'am Menchi, in this efforts nyo, ano yung mga karamihan nakita nyo, yung mga needs nila na talagang you focused on?
Diego, at the onset, dahil pinilit nating marating yung mas remote na mga lugar. Kung kaya by the time that we reach the areas, talagang it was still the very basic. Pagkain, tubig, hygiene items, pati nga yung libreng charging kasi walang kuryente and they needed to get in touch with their families. Yan din, very, very, very basic. Pero as we went on, nakikita natin yung attempt nila na buhayin muli yung kanilang kabuhayan. Nagsisimula na silang mag-araro, maglinis ng kanilang mga palayan, ng kanilang mga maisan. Pinipilit na nilang magsimula, bagaman zero, walang pagsisimulan. Yun ang karaniwang sitwasyon nila. And I was listening to you earlier about yung yung tulong o yung mga benepisyo para sa mga magsasaka. Kung kaya nandoon na yung next round sana natin.
Ayun.
Round 3 sana natin ay recovery programs na.
Ayun. So aside po dun sa mga activities na nabanggit nyo po para dun po sa mga families, people affected dahil nga po sa mga nagdaang bagyo, ano pa po mga Christmas activity yung aasahan po namin na naka-line up para po sa mga kababayan naman natin? Mula pa rin po sa Alagang Kapatid Foundation.
Yes, Angela. So tayo'y I think naka-round 3 na tayo, no? Nagpunta na tayo ng Tondo. Yung mga round 4 na tayo, ayan, kinokorek na ako ng aking tindang Alagang Kapatid. Naka-round 4 na tayo. Napunta natin itong mga nasunugan dito po sa Tondo, Manila. Nakadalawang balik na tayo. Dalawang magkaibang area po ito sa Tondo, Manila na dinalahan na rin natin ng saya, pati na ng pag-asa. Ayan, nakikita ninyo in the photo si Maui, kinantahan pa sila. Maui David really, impromptu, nakapagbigay ng kanta para sa grupo. Napuntahan na rin natin ng Tumana, Marikina, kung saan alam naman natin dito in Metro Manila, isa sila lagi sa mga binabaha. And of course, again, what's today? Thursday, meron na naman tayong round 5. Dito naman yan sa Rodriguez, Rizal, na isa rin sa mga pangkaraniwang binabaha nga dito sa Metro Manila and Rizal. So tuloy-tuloy pa rin, hindi pa dyan matatapos. Yan pa lamang ang nakakalendaryo natin na paghahatid ng merry na vibes na Pasko. And again, antabayanan nila yung concert na hinanda of course para sa atin ng MVP Group, yung Merry ang Vibes ang Pasko na mapapanood nila of course sa TV5.
Ayun. So syempre po Miss Mechi, sa mga gusto pa po magpaabot ng tulong, makibahagi po para po mas merry, di ba, yung Vibes ang Pasko, paano po sila makakapag-donate?
Okay, first of all, maki-enjoy kayo sa atin dahil nga merong nilulutong konsyerto ang TV5 and Signal TV para maging merry ang vibes ng Pasko. And in that concert, ipa-flash po natin ang mga pamamaraan kung paano kayo ay makakapaghatid hindi lamang ng saya, ang importante sa lahat ay ang pag-asa para sa pagbangon ng ating mga kapatid. This early, you may visit our Facebook page ng Alagang Kapatid Foundation Inc. At nandyan po yung mga bank details natin. At you may scan the QR code, yun ang pinakamadali. Any amount, alam natin na tayo'y iba-ibang ating kakayahan na tumulong, pero bawat isa sa atin, meron naman talagang kakayahang tumulong. So we will welcome all the help. And again, please, ayan na, December 15 and December 22, Part 1, Part 2 of the concert, andyan ang ating QR code. You may scan as early as today, as early as we speak. Pwede na po ninyong iscan. At again, hindi lamang po kayo makakapagbigay ng pag-asa sa iba, pati kayo ay haharanahin po natin.
Ayun, on that note, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Alagang Kapatid Foundation Executive Director, of course, no other than Menchi Silvestre. Thank you po, ma'am. Mabuhay po.
Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Alright, sige, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on Wood News.
Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on the One News DNA AA.
Oy, batiin ko lang ulit yung mga napuntahan ko yung family natin dyan sa Negros Occidental. Si Miss Jen, si Miss Luan, si Kuya Arby, Kuya Alvin, Kuya Bimboy, at the rest of our family dyan sa Negros Occidental. Ingat po kayo ha, dahil nga dun sa nangyari dyan sa Mount Canlaon. Alright, let's continue with our countdown. The new NAIA Infrastructure Corporation, or NNIC, has tapped Meralco to power the modernization of our main airport. Under this partnership, Meralco is constructing a substation to provide reliable power to NAIA's 4 terminals. Recall that NAIA has previously experienced multiple power issues due to aging infrastructure, lack of upgrades, and insufficient capacity to meet the rising demand. Meralco Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan said this collaboration is a step towards the goal of transforming NAIA into a world-class facility. Meralco and One News under Signal are part of MVP Group of companies. All right, let's continue with our countdown.
On our top 2, House lawmakers are clueless about the looming third impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adbiong said he and his colleagues have no idea about it. Earlier, House Secretary General Reginald Velasco told reporters that the third complaint might come from a religious group.
Kasi I personally do not want to preempt. I will definitely, should be invited, will attend the Committee on Justice. So let's see what are the merits, the case, what are the evidences presented.
House Committee on Good Government Chairperson Representative Joel Chua also emphasized the lack of time in tackling the complaints against the Vice President.
We have to face reality. By next year, come February, national campaign na. By March, local campaign. Kami nga ngayon, nahihirapan ako mag-master ng quorum. Right from the very beginning naman, I am consistent naman na kung merong ground, meron naman talaga. But ang concern ko talaga is yung time element, di ba?
Our top story for today is the last House hearing on the Vice President Sara Duterte's confidential funds. The Philippine Statistics Authority revealed that majority of the confidential funds recipients do not exist. The Vice President also claimed she has no idea about the non-existing records of her funds recipients. Here's the report.
The House Committee on Good Government has decided to stop its investigation into Vice President Sara Duterte's confidential fund expenses. This after they found more anomalies in the expenses receipts. The Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, revealed that over 400 recipients of the Education Department confidential funds do not exist in their database. But that's not all. Lawmakers also discovered some questionable receipts. For example, this receipt bears 2 different names, Sally Rendom from Surigao City and Sheila Dado from Digo City. But they have the same signature. Meanwhile, these 3 receipts belong to a certain Alice Crescencio. But interestingly, these receipts have 3 different names and locations. Assistant Majority Leader Zia Alonto Adbiong declared that the public was scammed by VP Sara.
Tayo po ay na-scam sa pamamagitan ng libu-libong acknowledgement receipts na basta-basta lamang dinoktor or gawa-gawa lamang.
The House Committee said they will halt their investigation because these are covered by the impeachment complaints against VP Sara. Makabayan Bloc objected to this.
Kailangan makita natin dito yung pananagutan mismo ni Vice President na the most responsible po doon sa pondo. Kasi baka po, Mr. Chair, natatakot ako na baka ang lahat ng sisi ay mapunta dun sa SDO.
In an interview with The Big Story last night, House Committee Chairman Representative Joel Chua clarified that they will continue investigating VP Sara's budget expenses.
Yes, you are correct. Because this is not only about confidential funds. If you will remember it correctly, the manifestation of Congresswoman Luistro concerns the budget of the DepEd, including the regular fund. That includes the issue concerning the computer.
In response, VP Sara said she was happy the House hearing has already concluded. She also said she has no idea about the supposed non-existing recipients of her confidential funds.
Dapat malaman nila kung paano ginagawa ang intelligence operations bago magsalita ang mga tao with regard to mga documents about confidential funds. Kasi hindi ganyang kadali na magsabi ka lang na walang nag-exist na mga tao na ganito.
To get more insights about this, we have ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro on the line.
Good morning, Congresswoman. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, magandang umaga. Salamat.
Oh yes, Congresswoman, let's get right to it po. Could you elaborate? Yes. Good morning po. Could you elaborate po why you're against a decision to stop?
Oo, yung House probe into confidential
bakit
fund.
you think po sufficient na po yung nalaman yung mga information sa mga narinig nyo?
Yes, oo. I oppose the conclusion of the hearing about the confidential funds. Kasi 'di ba, the SDO passed the 125 million and other funds to security officer, pero ano na ba yung nangyari doon? So, hindi dapat tumigil doon. So, dapat meron ding isa pang hearing, kahit na ba yan ay kung confidential information ba yon. So, tingin ko naman walang kinalaman na national interest doon dahil about the project and the programs na sinasabi naman doon sa Peking Accomplishment Report. Kaya kailangan talaga na singinin natin ito talaga na yung pag-utos ni Vice President Sara Duterte doon sa mga SDO, bakit niya doon ipinabigay? So mayroon pa akong tanong doon kung bakit ganun yung naging tinapos na lang doon at hindi talaga tinawag yung mga security officers.
Oo, kasi yung mga ibang mga kababayan natin nagtatanong, asan na yung issue kay Acosta, yung kay La Chica, yan yung mga sinasabi nila. Pero Congresswoman, yung reaction po ninyo dito sa sinabi ni Vice President Sara Duterte na dapat daw po alamin muna raw kung paano nagfa-function ang Intel Ops regarding sa non-existent recipients?
Well, hindi sa Intel, confidential yon para sa mga non-government agency na meron niyang guidelines doon sa JC 2015. So gayon nga yun doon talagang ayaw namin yung confidential and intelligence funds kasi naitatago nila talaga kahit naman merong mga alias na gamitin, more than 600 na mga informant bibigyan, parang imposible yun in 11 days. Mga informant, anong mga impormasyon na binigay noon, di ba? Or in a quarter. Kaya talagang kaduda-duda to at dapat nakalagbook yung tunay na mga pangalan nito. Kung yung receipt o yung acknowledgement receipt ay alias, dapat may tunay yun na pangalan na alam nila, nakalagbook yan. So, kaya talagang kaduda-duda yung yung mga acknowledgement receipt, yung report, at saka yung liquidation. And Sara Duterte attested all those documents, yung liquidation, certification, at saka yung report.
Yes, Congresswoman, also, ano ba yung practice po ng ibang policing agencies o sa military po in terms of paano linilista po ang mga confidential funds? Because alam ko mayroon silang Best Practices Act dyan sa Philippine Army kung paano nila may accountability po ang pag-release ng confidential funds. Baka pwede pong sana yun ang maging best practice po across all agencies.
Well, hindi dapat. Una-una talaga, ang position talaga namin dyan, walang confidential funds ang mga agencies dahil hindi naman nila yan function. Yung intelligence funds, sige, or bit of confidential funds sa mga agency na merong inimbestigahan, tinitiktikan. Pero yung OVP at saka yung DepEd, wala dapat yan. Saka iba pang mga agency.
According nga daw po doon sa 2015 GAA, dapat daw po may physical plan ang isang ahensya pagdating nga daw po sa kanilang mga confidential funds. Pero I believe wala pong nai-present na ganun ang Office of the Vice President and at that time ang Department of Education. Tama po ba?
Yes, yung physical plan na sinubmit nila yun na yun eh, yung 1 or 2 pages na nakalagay nga, yung tungkol doon sa libreng sakay, yung pagbibigay nila ng mga kung ano-ano mga services. Eh wala naman doong national interest. Nasa tingin ko, mangangailangan ng confidential fund. Sa DepEd naman, yung nilagay nila doon, combating terrorism, yung recruitment daw ng mga estudyante and teachers, eh ginagawa na yan ng militar.
Yes.
Di ba? Ang dami ng mga insidente na ginagawa niya ng militar. So bakit nilagay yan doon sa DepEd? So hindi naman yan function ng OVP.
Oo. May sisingit
O
lang
ng
po.
DepEd.
Opo. Congresswoman, may sisingit lang po ako bago ko ibigay kay Diego. Kasi yung sinasabi po ni Vice President Sara Duterte na wala daw po siyang idea doon sa mga acknowledgement receipts. Hindi daw po niya alam yun. Your reaction to that?
Well, talagang to the teeth nagsisinungaling siya kasi pinirmahan niya yung liquidation report eh. Pinirmahan niya yung mga report, attested niya. So, ibig sabihin, alam niya yon. So, hindi niya pwedeng sabihin, hindi niya alam.
Okay, before we let you go, Congresswoman, we'd like to ask po, ano po ang kamusta na po ang impeachment complaints ni VP Sara? May mga numero po ba, may chance po ba daw na makuha ang 1/3 para straight to the Senate na po ang complaints?
Well, meron pa yatang inaantay ang SecGen, no, na isa pang complaint. So, tingnan natin kung meron na doong 103 na endorser ng mga mga member ng House of Representatives. So, kung magkaganon man, baka yun na yung pwedeng ma-endorse doon sa Senate. Pero as of now, dalawa pa lang din yung impeachment complaint na naka-submit. Ngayon parang wait and see, no? Wait and see ang attitude ng ating mga kasamahan dito dahil nga doon sa nababanggit na third complaint.
Yeah, may idea po ba tayo, Congresswoman, kung kayo naman gagaling ang third complaint?
Well, ang naririnig namin ay religious group daw. Religious group ang magsasubmit ng third complaint na i-endorse ng isang party list. No?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us again, ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oy, thank you guys for joining us today on a Tuesday. As usual, madami tayong pinag-usapan today sa top 10 countdown natin. Madaming insight si Angela at hyper sa asukal, sa hot choco niya. But thank you also sa mga kabranches natin sa lahat ng comments na binigay nila on our social media account.
Ingat po yung ating mga kababayan dyan sa Negros Occidental.
Alright, and that wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunzad Castro.
And I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.